Hello and welcome to this very hasty version of our live stream. And just slammed it together because I had some fabulous ideas, or I think I have an idea, and that's reason enough to go and actually draw and spend some time on it. And let me see, I'm going to open the chat channel as well so I can see the chitter chatters if they are present. And of course, turning Nightbot on with some tunes. There we go. All right, lovely. Let's get to it. Sometimes a bit of the crazy ideas come at night, and unfortunately, when I'm in bed, I don't want to get out anymore. I just want to go to sleep. But my brain goes, brrr, you don't get to sleep. You get to think about this nightmare monster the entire time, as fascinating as it is. And now, during the waking hours, I finally get to draw it. Or at least a version of it that I still have in my head, if I can remember it. Yeah, for those who do want to go, or do get out of bed the moment they have some fabulous idea or thing that they want to draw, well, do it. If you'll have the energy left to function in the morning thereafter, because I surely don't. It's like I had this idea of some sort of centipede monstrosity that could be found in perhaps a lovely, interesting side quest. And as I'm brainstorming about the features and how to draw this monstrosity, many legs. What am I doing to myself? But when I miss a chance. So, as we might remember, we also have from Avatar Aang one of these centipede monsters who steals faces. It's a very interesting NPC, or at least a very interesting character that they brought up in the show. At least from my perspective, because it, you know, kind of that story kept on hanging. What I want to accomplish today is something similar, a story that hangs with the players for months after they've, perhaps even years after they had the encounter in game. Like such a lovely thing to remember. But what makes a story memorable? Is it the character design? Is it the motive of the character? The reason why they do the things that they do? I would say it's a little bit of both. Unique designs always tend to be more memorable than those who we've seen many times. Cool. Just getting the scope of it. And I know I'm tackling this a little bit backward and just kind of sniping into some minor details already, even though for these type of drawings it might be best to actually start with some silhouettes. Something I'll get onto later. It's just an image that I had stuck in my head, so I'm going for it. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thanks for the watch. Again, another update. I did install the lurk button, so if people want to lurk, they can use the exclamation mark lurk, so we know that you're there but not there. It's just giving a view. For those willing to try that feature. Slowly getting to the point that where I might even add some chat icons. I haven't done that yet though, so gotta. Boom boom boom. Goodies. Alright, now I have a bit of the motion that I had stuck visually in my head out there. This daunting figure that kind of looms over you, so the perspective is a bit jumbled right now. It was more of an action type post. So let's go for some silhouettes and see if we can get that action pose. This massive anime. Maybe a little bit upward in motion, like torso. It was a mass figure, but it was a part human, part centipede. Many legs. Scary. Did not want to come across that one. Certainly not at dusk, or dawn, or during the day even. It's a no-go. No. We have the hands right over there. probably has to crouch down to even get a good view at humans. Being a large little, well, large, not little. That's too big. We do want our heroes to be a little bit frightened by this critter, but nothing too much. So size does matter, like epic proportions, but nothing that they shouldn't be capable of taking down, because within the settings of D&D, players sometimes really like to tackle things forward and destroy. So don't get too attached to your NPCs, things that you're throwing around. They're not meant to win. The players are meant to live their story, because it's all about them. Alright. Maybe some of that sunken tower idea that I had. Also another remnant of me watching Avatar, and but this time it was an actual church, with church bell being the only part of this building still above ground. And this massive centipede hailing from it. Centipede person. Multiple arms? Yeah, why not? These are just some doodles. If they're not clear to you, that's okay. As long as they're clear to the artist, that's the entire point of it. The point of silhouettes, they have to be clear to you. You gotta work with them. No one else does. Unless it is your job to provide silhouettes, then you'd have to clean them up a little bit more than I'm doing. Like, I want a very good view of all those tiny legs going everywhere. Like, and have this being a little bit hunched forward with his back. Menacing pose. Kind of thing I want to go for. Now, let me grab some references, because that'll do the job a whole lot quicker. Copy, and done with these little thingies. Paste. I did prepare some of it. Yeah, actual centipede. Some references have been drawn by another artist. For me, it's really important to look at the clothing, the layered clothing. That was really something that stuck to me. So I did point down the name of the artist, Musubi, if I am pronouncing that correct. Here we go. Sometimes centipedes have these lovely movements, and well, they curl and entwine as their bodies are from several segments, and ooh. Daunting. Ooh. Like, I do want to show a bit of the backside. I'm going to cover that up with clothing, of course, as well, along with the segments of the centipede part. And try to get as menacing pose as possible, still with a face that is quite covered by veils or a hoodie, maybe a mask as well, like we had yesterday. We were drawing one of the night blades. One of my own references. There we go. Results. And I really like this school reference for some reason. And I have a bit of an urge almost, you know, because it's a replica and you can actually purchase it on a website. After I did the Google image search, I found that out, and if I manage to land a job pretty soon, I might buy it. Might. But it's eerily creepy though. It's a really good replica. And I'm not sure if I want something so so well done in the household. It's kind of messed up. Yeah, also been debating about the hands of this monstrosity. And I think I'm gonna stick with the whole centipede theme and using segments. As for a bit of a story behind this being, you guys can help out in the chat if you want. Alright, thank you Topri, thank you for the lurk, and hello Blizzard Fox! How you guys doing? Also for Topri, there is a lurk button, sweetie pie! You can use it now. At least I tried to install it. I think I need the arms to be more grabby. Pointing and being a bit of a distraction. Will be one of those foes that is looking quite menacing, but isn't too difficult to defeat. As for the players, and it should really give them a glorious moment once they defeated this foe, who's been probably snatching villagers from some sort of village, devouring them like a centipede would. And if people are being a total sleuth or Inspector Gadget or following the steps of Sherlock, they could probably uncover that this being was one of the villagers. But for some odd reason, there was a whole lot of hatred going on, and it turned into this nightmare creature. Or some experimenting, or so some sort of reason for this character to have a proper reason to attack fellow villagers. Like, why would it do that, and why would it still continue after all these years? When the original villagers who might have done harm no longer even, exist. So what could be a grudge great enough to do such a horrid thing? And one might really think about that before enacting an NPC into the wild for players to defeat. And sometimes a recurring NPC is fun. It's like if they can't beat it at once, maybe it comes back or retreats, and then they can have at it again, and with their final goal, of course, to destroy the creature, if they so please. I don't think there's bargaining possible with this centipede, man. It's not gonna be a nice one. It'll probably also charge upon noticing player characters getting close. Conversations will be bare minimum. Perhaps some hateful slurs or something from past times if you really want to go deep into the extent of character development, which is probably needed if you want a story to stick for years upon years. Yes. Thank you, Blizzard Fox. Also, yeah, I made my fair share of application letters yesterday, and whoo, oh, they're going at it like crazy lately. Alright, time to pull the references aside for a wee bit. We have this tail, and I'm gonna do magic. Of course, proportions aren't great at the moment, but cut and paste. Scale and rotate. Oh. Yeah, I want this straggler to fill in the entire page. I'm taking it a wee bit slow to just, you know, get my eyes used to a certain perspective that I'm trying to go for. And I'll have to readjust the arms, of course. I want this little thing to be pretty big and right in your face. Yeah, something like that. And turn the tail off for a wee bit. Well, not entirely turn it off, just more to the background. Oh, here we go. Some arms that needs doing. So we have the ground floor right over here. Just determined that. So perspective. And we have our brave player character going up against the mighty foe right over there. Yeah, we want to tell a story in this picture. Right? Or perhaps one of the earlier defeated knights or something like that. No, that is too much of an insecure pose. I want him to do this dapper knight, at least. Had a very brave ending. What you do? Probably using a shield. It's going the wrong way. like it's trying to probably reach and grab this knight, being so big. Like I'm going for the size of Attack on Titan big. Like it's not fun to go up against something so big, but in game, it might be exciting. Yeah, I'll focus on that later on. Do 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 do. Just building everything up in grayscales right now because it works a little faster. I don't have to do much effort to think about where lightning strikes and light strikes. Lightning, haha. We could add some epic lightning later. But for now, where shadows and lights, how it works and reflects and bounces. With color, you have to actually switch and think so much more about it, so I'd rather have the fundamentals and the basics ready before starting anywhere near that on the bigger projects. If it's a smaller speed paint way, it doesn't really matter if it's yeah, it's like entirely correct or not, then maybe a great sword or something. Heck yeah. We're gonna puzzle on this night later on. I'm just gonna establish these crazy fingers. Again, the segments, just making that roughly clear in the sketch. For characters that are at least your NPCs that are nice to your player characters and battle a lot, they should be wearing battle scars. So make sure that either some clothing is tattered and torn, showing that they've seen many battles, to make it clear to your players as well that, hey, there's this NPC right over here, or there's this monster. It's been in many fights before and it's not unscathed. Because if they come across an enemy that has no battle injuries but has been rumored to have been fighting or ripping tearing for many years, what that does to players is that they think it's an impossible task, like, oh hey, we can't defeat this monster. So at least make sure that there are some signals of battle torn or being battle worn, especially for those who go into brute fist fighting or up close battle. That if they're a caster, then I would say yeah, sure. Maybe make them a little older or something if they've been along for centuries, or give them a proper reason not to be older, being a turned vampire or something like that. Yes, I am kind of moving the hunt right over here. Cause I'm thinking about such a heinous monstrosity like this one, where rumors indicate that it attacks everything on sight, and once you do strike a conversation with it, it'll make it look at it as if it's listening to you, as if it's going to, you know, stop in its movement, but it'll probably attack you nonetheless anyway. Not that I want to give that price in the entire picture, but
those more peaceful players out there, I do want to give them a little bit of a lesson that not everything can be, you know, drawn into conversation. Sometimes they feign conversation and will trick you. But hey, for the Sherlocks among the players, they'd be able to figure things out in either a library or, even better, the direct source, the village that has been under attack, being plagued by this monster. I'm gonna move our hero. Very much dead hero, because they'll probably come across some armor and some other items that might be lootable from this creature. Among which a pile of... Ooh! Can I give a suggestion for the character placement? Yeah, you can. Actually, gonna move this one over there. Because I've yet to figure some stuff out. I'm still busy. Tips and suggestions are always welcome. I don't know if it's time to listen to something, but hey, there's the odds. Way ahead of you, buddy. Great minds think alike. Yeah, it gives more space to just to give an explanation to what you were probably thinking and what I was thinking as well. By moving the character, our fallen hero, it gives more space. It gives more of a frightening, damning look to the creature, the monster, and while it creates more space, it puts also more focus on how big the creature is, but also, you know, overall space. Final frontier. And that is important, because then you have details that can follow and be summed up. Yeah, the readability, thank you. I was lost for that word. To imagine that I already had my morning coffee, and still I am unable to figure out the word readability. Yeah, it gives a better readability. That's the whole trick behind the circus. Make sure that people can read it within the bat of an eye. Let's stick out that way. Putting that part over here still in the middle. Because this part here on the background will be going this way, because he has to support the body somehow, or by the legs, or whatever's going on in. I wanted to have this epic turning, like you can see the entire side of it. And it's kind of leaning over its own body, just circling into the background a little later. I'm gonna make a lovely little copy over here. Merge these two layers, and I'm changing the position of this hand too. Handy. This one's not in my agreement anymore. There's that one, so no more hands. And here's another lovely artist trick. Not just perspective, but sometimes all you gotta do is rotate to make things a little more interesting. Oh, look at that. They're on a hill. Woo! Hill battle. I guess, like, with a matter of just one button, one press of the button, and you get more story element straight into your drawing. Oh, it could be that this brave little knight already did some handiwork for you and slashed off a finger. Could be. I'll have to make a slash movement. It usually goes this way. 2 hands. Leaning backward on it. That's what I mean with having battle scars for those monsters or NPCs that are, well, in the front line of the battle. Really, if they don't have any scars and they fight with their hands within short range of people who are coming at them with axes and great swords, then it seems like an impossible feat. I mean, then they really need some battle scars. Otherwise, you're gonna discourage your players from attacking them. And boy, does it feel good to for the players to defeat such a foe. It's like, oh, it was like really big, humongous, but we beat it down. Of course, here's a tip that I learned on the road as well, because we all begin somewhere as DMs. That, along with artists, of course, gotta start somewhere. As for bigger monsters and the battle scores, there's another thing to keep in mind. The moment on which a creature goes down. I used to hold very tightly onto the HP pool, and it's like, oh, this is the set that I've been given. I'm using the Triumph pool, for example, like the stats. But however, that doesn't always work with, player happiness. Player happiness is where you keep an eye on the motivation of the players and when they're really in it. And sometimes that takes a long time to figure that out, because every group of players is different. But when they really seem to have poured everything at this creature, and you have to find an epic moment to let it go down. And the best is, don't track that. Don't keep track of HP. Don't. It's just let it go down and describe that after a certain amount of hits, or one epic hit gives an entire good scar on it, like losing fingers and what the player is aiming for. That encourages the player to actually mention where they are aiming for. I want it to be a knight with a feather on his head. Standard knight. If you have a piece of cloth right over there, it shouldn't be so that I could keep moving a little bit. Not all knights wear capes, and this one does not. That looks like a giant fart. I'm removing those. I'll get back to that. Boop. Saving another moment of this little drawing. I'm moving a knight. Yeah, he's not lowering his sword now. And what I want right over here, some light and focus for later on. It's like I'll have in mind are some sunbeams that are across the field doing a thing. Like they're in the dark tower that this creature is hiding in. It's like you woke it from its slumber. Just brave enough to go looking for it. Put in the catacombs. Some old thingies. And as for possible loot that you could get from this creature, imagine the trophies this one would keep around. Defeat after defeat of knights or clothing from villagers, things that aren't consumed. Fancy jewelry, perhaps some books here and there, not too many, so it would be more what people would have on them. So that could be jewelry, that could be perhaps some lovely weapons that were used against it. I just want to draw a little hand over here as well. Sometimes I'm really stuck with the hands and I have to think of where to put them. Like, this one I agree with some reason, but the other hands, like, it could be more intimidating, like reaching forward trying to grab this all knight or sword. And the many legs that I've yet to do. Scratches, and I was thinking again about a mask, oops, like we had done yesterday. So maybe some lost parts in this church, the church tower, could be scrolls, spell scrolls could be a thing. Maybe that was down there. Not that this creature may be using them. We're going for more direct attack. If you'd make this creature a spellcaster as well, it would be a final boss-like situation. I wouldn't use it as a quest at that given moment. If it were to be capable of spellcasting, then please use it as your final boss and don't use it as some quest in between, because then players might fear for the final boss, like, oh. Unless the spells are mediocre at best. Nothing too powerful. And again, still, I mean, alright. You know what, I'm just gonna redo these hands. Points of where I want legs. Not yet drawing them out. be stepping over its own tail. Does that make sense? It's probably cramped up in more space that is not meant for this being to actually go full out, so that would give an advantage to the players if they try to take it down within this church tower underneath the ground. So it will have to make do with the cramped up space that it has crawled itself into. Cozy little den. Some elbow right over there. As for that arm, that would be... I was trying to grapple, take hold of. It shouldn't also be impossible to get out of this creature's grasp if it's, grabbing one of the players with one of his hands. Make sure that the DC is not too damning high. So I would say, and to not make it too easy either. To avoid being grappled, perhaps a dexterity saving throw of, let's say, 15. That's still difficult, but with some bonuses that players may have, it's not impossible. Like when you put stuff up like 18, it becomes a whole lot more difficult. You also might want to encourage other players to rescue the one that has been picked up. Saying that there's a certain amount of damage being dumped around, but also the ability to escape. Also, again, not putting the DCC too high or too low on that one. Like, escaping should be possible, but don't make it too easy and don't make it too difficult. You want to use this NPC as a monstrosity as a side quest. It's all for good and fun. Do-do-do. And I move this arm more boldly. Yeah, I'm thinking about the reach of this creature. Where would it be? Boop. Sometimes I have way too much fun with a moving tool. To make this more of an interesting foe to battle against, and if we're speaking in terms of stats, I would think about a shove action as a bonus action for this creature. Because of the many arms and being quite large, it might be able to shove players around. Not necessarily grabbing as a bonus, because that would be... I would only say grabbing as a opportunity attack when people move out away from it, because you have to keep your eyes on it, and if people don't mention that they are keeping their eyes on it and stepping backwards, they're risking being grabbed. It's fast. And then the DC, of course, lies a lot higher, if we want to speak technical terms, to make it more difficult, than if a grab is coming right at you face forward. And if you're not keeping your eyes on it, then yeah, it's more likely that you end up grabbed. do want some later on when I'm done having this whole scene chewed out. Ha 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 ha. I wanted to make clear that you can still see the human features, the human kind of like muscles in the arms, but I like a good combination between centipede at that point as well. It's like having these segments. If anyone has been watching Dragon Ball Z, you might be familiar with Cell, one of their villains. Love that dude. Anywho, in his early stages, he has some very interesting art. Happy scratches. Of course, we shouldn't be forgetting about our brave knight in the corner right over there. Does obstruct the readability a wee bit, so I am really thinking about this hand over here. Handy. Every artist struggle. Hands. Poses. What else? Oh, so many things. Do 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 do. Mm-hmm. For this night, I want it to be just out of reach, and that this creature, this monster, has to make more effort to go grab. As for the players who'd discover this monster in game, they'd be able to discover the knight, at least his armor and parts and bits, the remnants of the brave knight, in a corner of this tower, along with his greatsword. Yeah, greatsword. That's a greatsword. That's going to be epic. Poke. No poking. Yeah. Just out of reach. I could even, because his wrist over here is a little bit prolonged. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, better. And just going to test this out. I'm like a copy right over here, paste it, and Paris Anthony. I know it doesn't add up like that, but just wanted to know if it's too busy, if it's like holding two arms out that way, trying to grab the knight. But then we don't have step over the tail pose anymore, so that's going to be a cancellation and delete. And I'm also making another layer save because that's what I like. Yeah, it's going to get a whole lot of clothing, like layered clothes, to mask part of its identity. And I'll get to a mask if I have some leftover time. It's almost 3 o'clock. Well, I can go on for another hour or so. Just don't forget to hydrate. Like, I love it when there's a play of light and not just me and in person. I don't know, right? It just makes a piece of story so complete when you have this avid lightning going around, telling the tale of the location where they might find themselves in. And I'm going to do another artist trick again. Perspective. Gives the idea that it is a wee bit closer than previously. And it gives space, another readability thingy, for this other arm in the corner. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum. Of course, these segments everywhere. Bloop, 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 bloop. And it could be another grabby arm, but it could also be an arm resting on his tail. I'm not sure if that would be interesting. And I'm using another layer just to test this out. Here we go. And we have this. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Because we have the shoulder blade right over there, elbow. Nah. Not like that. Go high up. I'm just drawing a golden circle to make sure that we're adhering to that a little bit. Nothing too much, of course, obviously. So we have this lovely body movements following the golden circle. Really want to move the neck to get golden circle. That we might want to. The knight points toward it, and perhaps he could do a better job at pointing at its face. So everything in the drawing points and gestures back towards the creature's face. That's what we want people to look at, because that's where I'll be drawing a mask. With a lot of detail. So. Bloop. This does show that it has some difficulty reaching. And for some reason, I'm reminded of Nazgul's from Lord of the Rings. We'll be changing that in a bit. And no arm is straight. I mean, there's always some muscle tissue that is showing. So do have to keep that in mind. Yeah, I'm erasing a lot of fingers and I'm redrawing them, and it's a thing I do sometimes. Just goes to show that you don't have perfection within one stroke of the brush. It's a handful of people who can actually do that, but they've been practicing for many, many, many years in order to be able to do that. And if you'd be asking them, they'd probably still admit that it's not perfection, it's just a thing. Alright, time to merge these two layers together after a quick save. Boop. Merge. And yeah, not too bad. Here we would have some shadow here as well. Here, perhaps some lightning shadow. Like already determining where stuff is going to fall with the lightning coming from this direction over there. The light, not lightning. Here we have this lovely arched back, like a worm moment. A worm that is going to have a lot of legs and segments eventually. I don't think I'll get to that part today. I'm just fleshing things out. As for the story behind it. Oh yes, I'm going to do a crazy thing. I'm going to move the head forward. like it's really doing its best to reach. Like, I want to go grab grabby hands. We had a conversation, at least I had a conversation with Art about the Nightblade followers of Baal, 5th edition deity. Dungeons and Dragons, and we came up with a lovely idea that the followers, in order to join this cult, they'd have to, well, murder a victim by melting their face off with gold and wear their face placed as skull as a mask. That's how you joined our cult. And maybe this danger noodle is also part of the cult and slew a giant. Who knows? Whoop. At least I do want to go for a very interesting mask. Something that speaks volumes. And I'll be working on it too in the background in a bit. The tail of a centipede. And maybe some of the loot can be drawn as well into this picture, so people have, at least the players that would be going up against it, know what they are rewarded with once defeating it. I like that still. Yeah. Danger noodle. Lovely, lovely. There we go. Haha! And everything, as you can see, also the tail, the sword, it's pointed to it. This location right over there. Oops. And loop. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. I'll be sure to keep an eye on it. At least trying to do it a little better than previously. Again, me with my perspective tool, I'm trying to change the position time after time. Yeah, that's more like it. Radio, saving point. I'm moving on. Doop, 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 doop. And we have a wee bit more of arm to scratch out right over there. Elbow. Bum, 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 bum. Heck yeah. Now about that mask. Alright, where were we? I'm just gonna zoom in a wee bit. So we got more details of the chaos I've ensued upon the campus. And this is a moment where I'd like to bring in some references that I probably have to shop around a little bit. Note to self, keep your references on top of your canvas. And I'm just putting them in a folder. Ways I'm gonna try. Boop. And I need this to be on this side. I also want to grab the gold that I had on a reference over here. My other drawings. There's a night blade we went over yesterday. Don't mind the messy layer order, I have yet to fix that. There we go, there's some lovely wraps as in clothing, copy, and gold metal. Dum, 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 dum. I'm just gonna save this and exit. And paste it right over here. Paste. Come on. There we go. I'm quickly gonna rename this folder to refs, so I know where my references are at. And I'm going to start with some color. I'm not quite sure about the golden skull. I did use it yesterday and I thought of it that was something memorable. I would say if it's wearing one of those golden skull masks, it's gonna be busted. Like that, some battle skulls. To encourage players that it is not invincible, but something that they can actually smack down. As for the clothing, I did have an idea. And that was purple. Variations between light purple, dark purple. I'm not sure if this golden mask is a very good idea with it. Usually purple and gold are seen as royal colors, so maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We'll go figure that out. These are parts that I want wrapped up in pieces of cloth. And as for the clothing, I wanted things to be very layered. So having a lighter color underneath, a darker color, still with the purple. And perhaps some white. Can't be completely white though. Some fabric. Just have to figure out where goes what. And maybe some decolored silver somewhere. Just to show that its hat is hanging very low. I'm debating about the color. Could be. Yeah, I could do an opposite. I could try to see how green goes for this. Though I prefer green to be used in the shadow part. Purple, blue. Oh yeah, red does show more aggression. Could be a little chance to change the color palette later on for the clothing. After I figure some stuff out. Like where I want what, for example. Or how the clothing will fall. Like I do know that I wanted multiple layers and like a kimono, but then creepy pasta version. So it has some tatter, it is torn, and there is a hoodie attached to it. Just tuning off the references for a moment, thinking about it, zooming out. So creepy enough. Duplicate this layer and gonna go for some silver. And then the old silver. Maybe someone has thrown poured silver over this giant centipede being. Maybe that's why he dislikes that particular village so much. Someone poured when he was still a villager, boiling or very hot silver. Like molten silver right over his face. That must have hurt a great deal. And rather than ending up dead, ended up being a monster. Shunned, hated by the village, and does the relentless attacks on it. No mercy, no more. And because this has been ongoing for probably quite some time, he won't show any mercy to replay characters as well. It's like, fuck everything. And for the more friendly players who don't want to be on a killing streak, the only way to stop this one from harming a village is to actually land the finishing blow. It's not gonna stop. Unless you can convince said monster that you're probably gonna get rid and wipe out that village, then he might be more intrigued to battle on your side rather than against you, but really depends on your DM. And the players, of course, if they want to go full evil and destroy an entire village, then yeah, of probably innocent people by now who had nothing to do with the pastimes, because those were their ancestors and they're not responsible for the actions of their ancestors. But he still holds a grudge. Believing that they are the fault for his current appearance. How to make this more creepy. You know what? I'm gonna go tinker with colors. Why not? Purple. And now that we're really thinking about it, or at least I'm thinking about it, I might want to do some light and shadow. Should have started with that. Nope, nope. And Maybe it is wearing a mask because it wants to be normal. Could work. Thing between human and centipede. Definitely playing more into the villainous scarecrow features. Don't want to believe it's a good guy, because it's obviously not. Sometimes you have those villains who, yeah, look like the typical good guy but turn out to be the bad guy. This one is not one of those. It's obvious. He has motives. He's angry. And whether or not his motives are actual good reasons or something to be reasoned with, and that's ultimately up to the players to discover, I'd say no. Yeah, if I'm thinking about the colors of the centipede, I probably... Yeah. Yep. I'm going to paint it black. Because I want to put more focus on his body than on the pieces of clothing that he's wearing. Meaning... Whoop, go on. Press the button. Yes, and I'm using some colors from the centipede reference that I brought up. It's a very colorful little bugger. And I figured that's the way to go. I still want some human-ish features going surrounding the head. Stepped away from the mask. ID, just to see how this turns out. You can always draw a mask on another layer if I'm done figuring this one out. Two. I do like the silver type of ornaments to the side, and I want it to be old silver, as in it's been there for quite some time, it's been worn for quite some time, and it has not been polished. Didn't bother. And I don't think he would smell bad, regardless of probably not taking a bath too often. Because if you ever smelled insects, they don't smell that bad. They don't really have that stench on them. Perhaps a bit of an earthy smell. perhaps later on we can think about some other adornments other than the silver near his head. Also lootable items for players. Fetch a good price on the black market or whatever market they visit. Yeah, I like that yellowish kind of belly. And in the background in the distance we have some faint red. Yeah, that one's Gunner. Not merch. Just to give some of these segments a place where I want them to be some color. And something freaky that players probably will discover when battling this creature is that he can probably bend his fingers also backward due to the segments being as flexible as a centipede. Meaning bending arms backward and the shape that he takes for arms to appear normal, to appear natural, changes during battle. And it becomes a foe that is quite formidable. Nothing too much though. Unless you want to make it a final boss battle. Develop an entire campaign around the being. Then, if that were a thing, I would introduce him in the very beginning. Something that the players can't defeat yet. That they are working to this foe and its defeat. And instead of a village, it would be holding an entire kingdom hostage. To make it more dramatic. And give the players a reason to go free in the entire kingdom. And perhaps that the best settlement for this would be a dwarven kingdom, because they settle in the mountains. So it's up to the players to free the dwarves from this foe. Rather than dealing with a dragon, they're dealing with some sort of archmage type centipede. That is really annoying to deal with, and not a nice person in general. You just want to get rid of this nasty bug.
those are some colors. Now I want to focus back on the face again. Because I'm still not in agreement. Sometimes the scariest foes have an unreadable face, but for this foe, I wanted to make it readable, so the player characters can actually make something out of it. Like when it's frowning, when it's hurt, it should be visible, it should be readable in a way. And if I would use it as a campaign boss, like the final boss of everything, I would hide the face definitely behind a mask to make sure that it becomes unreadable and more tacky to deal with. But for a mini boss, for a side quest, I would make the face readable and visibly showing the anger. Angry centipede man. And there's another thing that I know that at least it used to irk a group that I played with. Particular voice for a character that I meet during a D campaign. But yeah, to be honest, if I imagine this creator to be talking, it's probably gonna sound very nerd-ish. As in someone who speaks with a lot of saliva coming out of their mouth. That being said, I am a nerd. If I want to have a friendly face, I could give it a nose. I don't want it to be a friendly face. I just want it to be ever so slightly readable. Some pointy tusks, or at least some teeth. Not gnarly teeth. He's missing a tooth or a tusk. So he's probably taken by someone who was brave enough to go battle. And might have run off with a tusk, or it's in a loot pile somewhere. I couldn't put it back. But I'm putting the bets on somebody took it. Someone had a half victory.
survived the battle and beaten out of Tusk, and then knew when to stop and retreat. Just a tactical retreat. You see, human enough, but scary little fella. It's more like it. It's a matter of puzzling. Ooh, these could be having the human texture as well as in tusk or teeth. Maybe more like an elephant, like ivory. That would make some good loot for players. Where did you get the tusk? Well, I defeated the giant centipede man. Aha. Take that. So yeah, when designing creatures, monsters, I always try to keep the players in mind and make sure that there's lootable items, either things that they could obtain from the body if they really are going for dissecting everything, like some surgeon, or for those who are more shallow and, or at least searching shallow and just go for the items that a creature could be wearing. In this case, you won't be finding any books on this man unless you're using him as a final boss battle. Then I would certainly give him some mage-like abilities. Perhaps not necessarily the Archmage, but more like a battle mage. That would be interesting. Yeah, those 3 gnarly teeth. Good. Do, 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 do. Ooh, another good one. I was talking about battle skulls. Maybe someone had a good slash at it. Some decolorations or something. Like, could have been healed already, but I'm just trying some stuff out. Quite tacky with this colourful little being. It's right now it looks more like decoration other than gauze. Yeah, considering that he is wearing his armor on the outside, but there are some weak points between the segments. So player characters would have to think twice about where they hit this being, and it's not easy to dissect this centipede. It's very strong, so I would say for stats it has like strength would be, I think, either 18 or 19. It would be really high, one of the highest stats if you're going to give it a monster stat. And dexterity is also going to be high. It's probably not the highest stat because that lies in strength, but I would say a good second because of the flexible segments, and giving it a natural armor class, that would be high. So I wouldn't put this stag lair up against, I wouldn't put it against like level 1. That would be a real sorrow. Perhaps the right player level for a creature like this would be, I think, 12. Makes for an interesting encounter. Which allows the DM to use some higher stats and some more difficult things to keep in mind, because then they have some experience on them and they are more sturdy adventurers. Maybe it's wearing a silver necklace. something it could have combined from different strands of different kind of necklaces that were once worn by victims. Like a trophy necklace, but due to being so large, he'd probably have to tie everything together. There's one mega collection of necklaces, like a bundle, a collective of all sorts of tiny necklaces strung together. Some adornments here and there. A whole lot of silver that people could loot from him. Nice. The total worth of perhaps I could obtain 1,000 dragons with or pardon me, my head is completely into Waterdeep. One of the campaigns from D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. 1,000 gold. Standard issue. So yeah, 1,000 gold, that could be it. Place worth in silver. Mind you, it's old silver, so the jeweler has some work to do, so you're not going to get the full price for it. But if you manage to find the right collector who'd be interested, you could fetch a higher price, of course. And if I'm thinking about magical items, what kind of magic item could be fetched off from it? Perhaps you can create or craft your own magical item using one of its antennae, or two of them, functioning to find a source of water, or perhaps something more interesting. Like a way to find an entrance to the Underdark. Well, that makes it look more interesting if you conjure up some ideas about it, in terms of, hey, if I use body part A or B for so and so, what's going to be the effect for a particular kind of players who are more digging around and trying to experiment with things. Dum, 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 dum. I'm getting a solid grip on it. It's very nice. Now we're gonna do some light and shading. I always go for lightning. Lightning strike. Aha! Does that happen? Determine a color. Right, opposites. Yeah, I'd like it to come from a dark place, so I'm just gonna... This part of the screen, gonna make it darker. Looks like it's crawling out of the shadows. Yeah, it doesn't always at least mean that the background is as dark as the front. Still figuring that one out. Sometimes it's okay to use a darkest color there is, of course, but I'll be playing with the opacity in a bit. After I'm done sorting out some of the shadows.
Hey, welcome, Rent One Art. A little shout out to Rent One Art. She also has her own lovely unboxing videos. You can always check her out on her channel. Let me put it up there. There we go. And of course, we also have some light. I don't want to go for too much of a yellow. It's like in between orange yellowish. So, see what that does. Does warm up the picture immensely. Still want to know what we're doing, still want to have some details in the darkness, so don't want to let everything fade. I think this is very nice. We're having a layer save right over here. That luckily didn't change too much. Sometimes you have that. I'm still okay with the results right now. Nice. Another layer save. And it's time to work some magic on some blues because we have a lot of oranges going on. I'm going to say color of this. What's a better poster like mixture than having blue and orange, the contrasting colors? You can also do this with other colors. Usually posters go for orange and blue. It's been a thing for decades, all the time. But you can also take out red, for example, with turquoise, or green and purple. Wonder how that looks like? Well, let's have at it. Turn this one off. I'm gonna go to color. So we're gonna go for, let's say we're using the purple as light. We're gonna make this part purple, 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 purple. We're gonna go for green shadows. Of course, this is a little bit extreme, but it works very well in sci-fi like art. Well, it's no cyber night that we're drawing right now, so. Purple bite me a bit much. And because it's still part of a light play and we still need the original colors to shine through, we're gonna play with opacity. We have a better grasp at what's going on. And there's what it does. It's not too shabby. It's more of a poster-like feel in compared to this.
some kind of cave down. It's a glowing purple rock. Or pink. Or an interesting mood for some kind of swamp. But I think I'm just gonna stick to that poster, child. It is tempting though to work with the purple and green. Thank you, Redmond Orct. Have fun working. I hope you're gonna have a good day. Oh, let's try out another one. Maybe I can find something better. We have red. I think I'm going to use the red for the shadow and the turquoise for the light. Let's go for that. See how that appears on screen. Wee, why is that blue? Oh, this makes for some very nice mood as well. Immediately jumps into the whole danger alert. Again, a wee bit of sci-fi, but it depends on it. I think. Just trying to play it out where the shadows would fall and where the light would strike. Underneath the arm. And due to the contrast, we're capable of getting results quite fast. It's again readability. Dapper. Yeah, I like this mood. Yes, there we go. Aha. Yeah, that's good work too. It's like the warmer, the shadows are warmer, and then the light is a little colder. It's interesting for sure. See if I can reverse that a bit. Yep, there we go. Just use EU saturation for it. Yeah, I might be fond of this. Yeah, let's go for that. Merge. So we have the red for the warmer tones, which is the light, and for the shadows we have the blue tones, which represents the shadows, and yeah, that works. Opposite also works. It really depends on the art piece that that you're working on building on. For me, I want more of cinematic theater like feel to it, so using some safer bets. Like, yeah, sure, I could apply the purple and the green, or the pink and the green, which makes for very interesting art pieces, but I don't find it necessarily aesthetic for this particular one. I don't find it fitting. I could also swoop and switch the colors, like having blue on light and red on the shadows. Also makes for a very interesting look and feel, but not a particular kind of feel that I want right now. I'm still figuring things out, so I prefer to grab a little bit more of the obvious before going into more of that. For the obvious, why use warmer tones? It gives a bit of a more cramped up feeling, a more coziness, and imagining the entire battle to be in a tower underground, you'd have some reflecting bounce light, and it's probably warmer tones. It's either at dusk or at dawn, so again with the warmer tones and the cooler shadows from the tower itself. Certainly would make sense that I picked this color palette to fit the story that I have in mind. Alright, another layer safe. And this turns out to be one of my longer streams. Hope you're all having a good time. Don't forget to hydrate, don't forget to drink, and don't forget to take a break every now and then. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. I'll be happy and looking forward to reply to most of it as far as I can. Try to keep an eye out for it. If you have any suggestions, feel free to post them as well. Feedback is the best way for an artist to learn. As long as you know the difference between feedback and bland criticism. Even so, it's hard to piss me off, to be honest. However, misbehavior will land in a kick. Do, 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 do. To me, drawing and painting, it feels like playing and you're working on a structure layer upon layer. You're just building. Actually, I'm literally just building on top of stuff. Scratches. And if there's something that I don't like, I just draw over it again. This is my whole tactic, which is why I'm saving the layers, as you can see in the side. Like to paint on one layer. I know that some people really like to use multiple layers to bring an entire piece together, like having the eyes on a separate layer, the clothing on a separate layer, but for me, I did try that. It works with certain art styles, but for the whole painting, I have to be honest, it doesn't work for me. Kudos if it works for you, but for me, I prefer everything on one layer so I can mix and blend the colors that I see and want to mix. Maybe an extra tooth over here. It's like a little bit like a tusk, so it has to be sharper. Dum, dum, dum. And those mandibles also did look great as well. And then there is the part of the fighting the fingers segments. Quite easy actually, unless you just follow the joints of the actual human finger, and that's why you turn them into segments. Just, you know, you're drawing puppet hands. Dun, 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 dun. Another thing is to keep in mind that the size of the hands shouldn't be too big or too small. It's easy trickaroo to figure that one out if you're starting out as an artist and you're not sure about it. Like, did I do the right thing? Copy, paste. Whee! Rotate. This is quite big. And again, we do have perspective that we have to keep in mind. It's not a static, straightforward drawing, but if it were, it would be too big. Too bloody big. And again, monsters are something different. And just make sure that, of course, fingers can be on top of the head. However, never make a hand too large or too small. What we see in anime characters is that they are often too small, which is a bit of a pet peeve for me, like, small hands. In real life, I have small hands too, but they are not that tiny. And with small hands, I mean, compared to the face, that is really tiny. And yeah, some anime characters do have a hand that reaches up max to half their face. And that is too tiny. It should be able to at least cover the face. So this would be a more approachable size. But yeah, we're doing a perspective thingy over here. So the hands are indeed closer, some of them than the face is. If the face over here and the hands over there, here. And because this is a monster, hands and their size can be deviating from the human standard. Can be larger to impose more of a threat. But I wouldn't certainly not make hands on monsters or anything like it smaller, because then you'd lose credibility and it looks like, that's crazy. Unless that's your thing and you want to go for something like that, that's up to you. Unless they have a lot of tiny hands, then again, you could make something creepy out of that. So correction, it depends on your type of monster. Everything can be scary if you just put your mind to it. But yeah, the rough idea is settled. It's clear. It's clear what is happening. It's clear what is going on in the picture. Rest is up to rendering. And with rendering, plenty of details could come in, like jewelry, armor from our little knight, details on the sword that he's wielding. Any more patterns available on our centipede man that I've decided to base on an actual existing centipede from a photograph. Of course, we want a creepy crawling legs in the background as well as much as the front. think I'll figure that one out later. Might need a reference for the legs, the multitude of it. Because I do want them to look like the real deal. I've also given it some more thought, as in how flexible a centipede is. Fingers curling backward. This motion right over there. Nah, don't think so. Not necessarily. Like there's certain directions the centipede can curl into, but then it has to twist its torso in. Yes, the segments do make it more flexible, but you want to keep that in. It's not going to be backward, but it can be sideways. All those odd little squiggly forms. If there are some peaks of light, just get rid of a new layer and I'll fuse it when I'm done. Could be here. It's like a lot. And fall right over there. Part of this finger over here. Comes shining from above. Like so. Add. When adding light in such heaviness, be sure to keep track of objects that are in its path. I'm just gonna use a shift control spot. Light just has a very linear some of these light dusk thingies. Just trying some stuff out. Would that be trees? Maybe ground. Using a couple of brushes over here to add some to the extremeness of light. I'm using a separate layer, which I will add later on so I can paint all over it again. Yeah, it's a bit of a workaround, but that's how I prefer it. We have a little small interruption of this light beam. And again, when we're having the hand. I still have to correct these little feety things, these tiny legs, and I kind of make sure that I can't put in indefinite light. So, all over here. It's always fun to play with light. I do want to give the impression that light is capable of traveling past around. Here we go. Notice that this little grey area in the background is causing some trouble with my initiated light, so I'm just getting rid of that. Give it a bit of a source where it comes from. furthermore, if light feels something like, oh, it looked awesome, and don't touch it no more. Light doesn't always have to be perfect. The moment it looks good enough, it's good. It's all about tricking people that are looking at your art piece. It's good to know, to have a bit of a understanding of how light works and what and things like bounce light, but really most artists are just winging it, and if you can't be bothered to study lights and shadows, just wing it at that point. But yeah, I would advise to actually do study it. Some interesting pointers in it. Because giving a good light show makes a piece very interesting. Just a reminder how it looks without the light and with. Oop. Yeah, let's go and round this up. I have still some chores to do, so I'm going to end the live stream at this point and see if we have some people online for a raid. I don't see one at the moment, so this is going to be it. Have a nice day and we'll see you next time. Cheers!